Very warm evening, everyone, and greeting from India. And I can see Bettina ma'am in my screen. And warm evening, Bettina ma'am, Bettina Thesin ma'am, and Preeti ma'am is here. And Obiklo sir, greeting from India. Priyanshu ji has joined. Okay, Ajinkya ji, Priyanshu Kala ji, Ayush Bijwan, wow, very young, amazing. Aksara Khushbu, Ajinkya Indelkar, Uta ma'am, and Neeraj ji, and Sakil ji from Nepal, superb dynamic. Janvi, Umprakash ji, Manish Gaikwad ji, and Pratik Gautam ji, Yogeshwari ji, Rupali ji, Monica ji, yes, and Rahul Bansode sir has also connected. And I welcome everyone in this session. And this session is really wonderful, and your presence is making this session so wonderful. So I would like to request every participants, please make your videos on, and as your smiling faces always spread a smile in a more better way. Yes, I can see Rahul Bansode sir, Ajinkya, so young Ajinkya, awesome. Awesome. Sonali ji, okay. So before starting, and could you please share in the chat box in which city, in which country you belong? In the chat box, in which city, in which country you belong? Type in the chat box, hurry up, hurry up. We are going to start without waiting for a second. And it is request to every participant and remove every distraction for next 90 minutes. Anything else, if you are about to have dinner or anything else, any work, please remove any kind of distraction for next 90 minutes. Yes, Rupali ji from India, Pratik ji, Gondia, India, Kosli, Haryana, Kathmandu, Nepal, wow, super awesome. Nasik, Maharashtra, India, amazing, amazing. Yeah. And how many of you are student here, and how many of you are already working? If you are in a business, if you are already having a business, type B in the chat box. Or if you are a student right now, type S in the chat box. Yes, Telangana, India, super. Student, aspiring entrepreneurs, future of the country. Awesome. So I'm going to share with you what are you actually going to get from this today's session. And so today's session is all about leadership, and two most dynamic leaders as Jeff ALTGILBERS sir, who is the author of Reaching the Peak book, who is multi-millionaire entrepreneur and leadership coach from USA. Sir Nagesh Donle, who is the founder of IE Center, Amazon bestseller author and world record holder from India. As you can see on your screen, leadership trainer from Germany, Bettina ma'am, Bettina Thiessen ma'am, and Uta ma'am, who is a dynamic journalist from Germany, has also connected with us. And you are going to get such a guidance. So you all are here in this room. So we are IE Center. IE Center stands for Information Exchange Center. We work on a mission to empower you to build powerfulness. Our vision is to become #1 training center in India by 2023. And we believe in quality education, confidence, professionalism, and self-esteem. So IE Center established in the year of 2010 by Sir Nagesh Donle. And till this duration, during the period of 12 years of journey, we have trained more than 17,000 youngsters all across the India and influenced more than 4 lakh plus people and conducted more than 1,300 plus workshops. And now you all are here, a part of leadership journey. And yes, how many of you are excited for today's session? Yes. Give me a thumbs up. First of all, make your videos on, because your energy is going to make this session super wonderful. Correct. So for that, your energy is so necessary. Make your videos on, and just you can raise your hand. Yes, we are ready. Yes, and it's super. So please make a huge round of applause for yourself. And yes, very active Abhijit, Abhinav, Ayush, who are so young in this training room. Yes, and many other participants has also joined. Yes, Samadhan ji, Sunita ma'am, Durga ji, Rasmi Bahule ma'am, who is a dynamic trainer. Bindya ji, Satyam Chauhan sir from Uttarakhand, awesome. So are you ready? If you are ready, just give me a thumbs up. If you are ready, just give me a thumbs up. Awesome. Okay. So now I'm going to invite in front of you the person who is the founder of IE Center, the person who is the author of 3 bestseller books, the person who is having 3 world records, who is the career counselor and success expert, who is none other than Sir Nagesh Donle sir. So make a huge round of applause. And so make a huge round of applause to Nagesh Donle sir.
Very beautiful evening to one and all. If my voice is audible to you, please give thumbs up. Voice audible. Thank you very much. How many are there? They are super excited to become the dynamic leader in this training room. Come on, say I. Oh my God. Mind blowing personalities are here. They want to become dynamic leaders. Yes, guys, yes. Now let me know how many are there. They are again super excited to participate with their physical and mental attendance in this training room. If you are the one, give thumbs up, guys. Yes, yes, double thumbs up. It means that double energy. Awesome. All you are so amazing personalities. And I believe that one today, all we are going to rock. So, guys, let me know first of all from your end, what do you want from this today's international workshop? Please type in chat box, or you may just unmute yourself and you may share. As I'm observing, there are lots of personalities. They are here, like Honorable Bettina ma'am from Germany. Again, Bettina Thessin ma'am also from Germany. Honorable Uta ma'am, our last week great performance by her. So it's all things we are going to work together from different countries, from different states. World record holder Rahul sir, fabulous guys. All you are so amazing, and because of you only, this is the session which we are going to rock. So please let me know why and what do you want to learn from today's workshop. You may type in chat box, or best way you may work on, just unmute yourself and you may please share. Yes, please. Yes. Come on, guys. Come on. It is really great time. Who is going to share?
Yes, sir. May I?
Come on, Jaspal ji. Go
Yes,
ahead.
sir. Good evening to all. I am Jaspal Pawar from Tiri Gadwal, Uttarakhand, India. I am an active family member of I Center, where Sir Nagesh Jonli is our mentor, who is best Amazon bookseller, world record holder, and success expert and career counselor. Today in this session, I want to know about from our chief guest, Sir Jeff sir, to their experience about their leadership quality, how they start and how is their journey, how they started, and they influence more people around the world. So I'm excited about to learn much about from their experience for leadership and entrepreneurship skills. Thank you so much.
Wow, that's really super one. Please clap for Jolly Jaspal ji, who is so young in this training room. Again, guys, again, come on, let me know. We are all curious. Bettina ma'am is saying curious to all inputs, vision, values, and tools. Great one. Again, what else, guys? Come on.
Sir, may I?
Yes, please. Come on, Pratik ji.
Sir, I want to learn. I want to learn from Jeep Alti. Jeep Al. Jeep
Jeff
Alti.
sir. Simply, you may use Jeff sir.
I want to learn from Jeff sir. How can improve your leadership skill?
Fabulous, Pratik ji. Yes. Come on, guys. All you are so amazing. You have great passion.
May I, sir?
Yes, Preeti ji, go ahead.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Great evening to one and all. I am Preeti Bamne, and I'm passionate family member of our I Center. So actually, leadership has the best quality is that learning. So that's why I'm here, because of learning about entrepreneur, about leadership skills for an business or an for entrepreneur. So again, I had to learn that the capacity of the leadership, that means they translate vision into the reality. Again, I want to improve my listening abilities, and I want to learn from this the courage and how they take the risk taking also. Thank you, sir.
Wow, amazing, Preeti ji. That's really great one. Come on, from our international leaders, I would like to know from them also. Honorable Bettina Thesin, ma'am. Bettina, yes, both beautiful and brave. Bettina, ma'am, come on. Uta, ma'am.
It's wonderful to be connected worldwide with India, with America, with the Philippines, with Nepal, with Germany. It's nice to interact together, to grow together, and to learn from each other on the best way. And we are very excited, not only because you have done the best work, but also when Jeff ALTGILBERS wants to give his advices, how he has done network marketing and other leadership and owner and business owners, how he has done it in 40 years in this immense and great way. And we love to hear from him and from you what is the best way to grow together.
Fabulous fun, Bettina, ma'am. You are always amazing. Yes, Bettina Thesin, ma'am.
I'm so glad to be here, and I thank you very much for the invitation. And I'm curious about everything today, because I know we have two very, very big leaders with you, Sir Nagesh Yondale, and with Sir Jeff ALTGILBERS. And really, I'm curious to learn about, well, the sentence leaders attract potential leaders is very interesting. And what about my attitude? What can I learn from my attitude to, well, to attract the attention of other people? But I'm really thankful to be here and curious really about everything. I know everything will be good. Thank you so much.
Fabulous one, Bettina Thesin, ma'am. As usual, all you are so amazing and fabulous to provide great inputs. Yes, Sakil ji is saying we want to learn leadership training for business starter who is going to start new business. Great one. Awesome. Again, I'm observing some of the leaders. Uta ma'am is there. Bivash ji is also with us. Yes, Bivash ji, you may please unmute. And Uta ma'am, please unmute, make your videos on and share, please.
Okay, namaste to India. I'm also very glad to be today with you together and to learn something new, something more about your visions, your ideas about leadership, and to learn something new about another person. I have read something about him, and I'm very interested in hear what he will tell us in this evening.
Definitely, Uta ma'am, fabulous one. All we are super excited about it. Yes, again, who is Rashmi ji, who is rockstar personality. She has also connected. Yes, Rashmi ji, what do you want from today's session? Come on, you may please share.
Hello, everyone. Very good evening. Nagesh, you keep raising the bar each time and bring us back to sessions. So we're one day teaching, one day learning again. And that's the amazing part of this journey. So yes, looking forward to, because, as Preeti also rightly said, leaders are someone who keep looking forward to growing. So very curious and very excited to get new information and be a part of this very, very enthusiastic team.
Definitely, Rashmi ji. All we are team members, we are family members, and we
Absolutely.
are the one where we are going to discover the new and amazing things with the help of each other contribution.
Yes,
Yes,
it's
no
great
problem.
learning because there's amazing enthusiasm in the room, and the energy of this house itself is an experience in itself.
Yes, and once we start to see the presentation of Honorable Jeb sir, I
Right.
will give guarantee, guys, all you are going to great gem today. So for that purpose, from start to end till the end, you may please give your best. Yes, again, who is there? Who would like to share? What do you want?
Hey, hi Nagesh, Jagannath here.
Jagannath ji, please go ahead.
Hey, just what I would like to understand from the today's session. Okay, my expectation is I would like to be as like what are the things that we have to do it irrespective of society we have or we are at home or we are at office. It doesn't matter. But people manage skills. Okay, those skills are very important. So I would request today. So uh, I don't know the specific topic or what going to be delivered today, but if we have some focus from the speaker today on people management, that would be great help.
Definitely, my friend Jagan, who is my friend from IBM, and of course, he is a dynamic leader. So today, all leadership, how those queries are there in terms of chat boxes. I will give guarantee, guys. Here, just open your mind, keep the pen and paper with you. Jeb sir, he is really amazing leader. And before 3 years, we met in Hyderabad. That time he traveled from USA to India, especially to meet me and Dr. Prashant sir, who is I Ratna today. Dr. Prashant sir also connected with us, who is very amazing doctor, passionate doctor, and passionate doctor turned into the entrepreneurship. Because of all that, I believe each and every person in this training room, we are going to learn a lot. Sharing is there, caring is there, guys. And for that purpose, just we have to keep some patience. That's why I'm asking you, first of all, let us know what exactly do you want from this training. So we will put all the points together and we will work on it. Yes, please. Come on, come on.
Hey, hey.
Again, who else? Amazing. As I said, all we are super excited to learn Honorable Sir Jeb ALTGILBERS, and Honorable Sir Jeb, he connected with us. So please make a huge round of clap to welcome Honorable Jeb sir by your clap and great smile.
Nice to be here. So nice to be here with all of you. Let me make sure I'm not muted. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, Jeb sir, you're audible. As I
Okay,
was talking
good.
about Honorable Jeb sir, he is the man of ability and he has discovered great things, guys. And he is the person who is developing great leaders all across the globe. And it's really great and warm welcome to Honorable Jeb sir in our IE Center's International Leadership Development Program. So once again, guys, please welcome to Honorable Jeb sir.
Thank you.
Over
Thank you.
to you, Jeb sir.
So great to be here with so many of you. Many of you are in India. So I hope you're healthy and well, and because India has been in the news quite a bit with COVID-19, and I know your country's went through a lot. So I hope that it hasn't affected your families too much. I know we had to run through it in the United States and had several people here working in my property, and they got it. So far, I've just been dodging bullets, So I've avoided it so far, but it's now starting to flatline here quite a bit, which is good. And we expected that. And hopefully we're going to see that in India soon as well. So I really hope that you're healthy and your family as well. The thing is that we think about challenges, and even during this pandemic, leadership is very important because it's even my parents never saw a pandemic. And my parents are no longer alive right now, but they never saw one in their lifetime. So I'd say it's been at least 100 years since the Spanish flu hit in 1918 that killed millions, right? So it's been a great test. It's been a great test in our personal lives, in our family lives, in our businesses. I spoke with a man originally from India who lives in Australia, and he's a very successful businessman, very, very wealthy and all that. But COVID, shook up his business. It's disrupted his business quite a bit. So he's had to reinvent himself. That's what leaders do, right? We don't remain, like we are. We, like the caterpillar, we have to crawl back in the cocoon and become a different butterfly, right? And I've had to do that a few times in my life where I've had to reinvent myself and say, okay, this is the way I always made money, but I've got disruption going on in my life. Things have changed in my life. Things have not remained the same. It reminds me of that book that was written called Who Stole My Cheese, right? It's about the mouse that somebody always put cheese in one area, and then finally that person didn't do it anymore, and the cheese was relocated. And so the challenge of the mouse was to find that cheese. Where is that cheese? So the thing about it is we've seen a lot of change during COVID, a lot of disruption, a lot of businesses that won't come back. And people are going to reimagine and rethink their careers and how they're going to make money. And anyways, going back to that man in Australia, I happen to be in the profession called network marketing. So for those of you that don't know what network marketing is, that's where you recommend a product or service to others. And when they buy that product and service or use that service, every time they do that, you get paid. If they introduce it to other people, you get paid on them as well. So I introduced it to 72 people my first 2 years. I found a product, liked it, recommended it. I did that with 72 my first 2 years. After that, I didn't recommend it anymore. Not that I wouldn't recommend it. It's just I wasn't enrolling people anymore after 2 years. But that network, we'll call it a network, is got 700,000 members now that orders around $30 million a month in 57 countries around the world. Now, I don't see a product going out. I don't see a product consumed. The only thing I do is get a notification from the bank that the company made another deposit in my account. And they've been doing that for 21 years. Somebody says, well, how long will it last? I don't know. How long does it have to last? It's been lasting 21 years and it's still going on. So I guess it'll last a lifetime because network marketing has been around more than a half century. So it's not a business model that we would ever question its future. It's a business model where we question our future in relationship to it, because no doubt many of you buy a product that comes from a network marketing company. I buy several from different companies. Matter of fact, you come to my house, you'd be hard to know which network marketing company I'm in, because I've got different products that I use from different friends who are in different companies, and they use my products too. So, one of the greatest things I love about, and I'll have to say that was when I look at leadership, and that is the test of leadership. Are we going to adapt and change when it's time to adapt and change? And I've had to reinvent myself a few times. I can remember back, I actually took an interest in network marketing 41 years ago, because it was 41 years ago I actually started. Now, keep in mind, that was pre-internet, pre-personal computer, pre-cell phone, pre-everything. We're going back to the caveman days, okay? So even when I talk about this, my youngest son says, yeah, Daddy, but you had Wi-Fi, right? He doesn't get it. He doesn't get the world I was living in at the time, but that's where I began, network marketing. We didn't call it network marketing back then because that term actually defined our activity with the advent of the internet. So when the internet came into being, then we upscaled or we scaled our business a different way, because now we could share information online. Before that, we were always mailing packages to people. So that was expensive, wasn't it? But now we found a method where it didn't cost anything. You know, you could just email it. Like, who does that? What's email? You know, I can remember when I started my last network marketing business. Hang on one second. Excuse me. But I was, 21, 22 years ago. I lose track of time now. But back then, I didn't even own a computer. Matter of fact, I only got a computer because the man who sponsored me, introduced me to the business. You know, he was just making fun of me, say, "Oh, you're going to be a professional, huh? You don't even own a computer." So I bought a computer to shut him up. Then I had to get somebody to come set it up. And I said, okay, what do I do with it now? You know, but I would say most of my leadership skills, even back then, was my ability to simply talk, you know, and I talked to people on the phone. I would call them. I would share a hotline where they could call a number and listen to a doctor explain our product. And then I would invite them on a conference call where we could load that call up. That was always the goal, load the call up with interested people. And then that was it, enroll people in. And, you know, in 90 days, I had 800 people in my team. And that was 800 people in 90 days. I can say that, you know, back then, that, you know, after that 90 days, I've been part-time ever since. Part-time ever since after 90 days. Why? Because I had a special run, special focus on my business. But I'm sort of jumping the gun. I want to go back to reinventing. Because again, I started 41 years ago, but I would say that my first 14 years, I was really a hobbyist with network marketing. I liked it. I actually at that time, I started my own cleaning business. I had a cleaning business and I had 40 employees at that time. So for the majority of those years, I'd say 13 of those years, I was doing quite fine with my cleaning business. At the same time, I was listening to cassette tapes. Now, for you young people, if you don't know what a cassette tape is, just Google it. But I was listening to cassette tapes 41 years ago, and or back then, and I was listening to Earl Nightingale. So if you want to, you know, you could Google Earl Nightingale and listen to that cassette tape, though it's on a YouTube now, called The Secret. The subject is called The Secret. He has a baritone voice. But back then, when I had a cleaning business, I would just buy those cassette tapes, and my wife, that is my wife at the time, joke about that. Anyway, she would sort of ridicule me and say, "Why do you buy those cassette tapes? Why do you spend that money? Why do you listen to that? What good is that going to do for you? How's that going to help you in a cleaning business?" I said, "I don't know. It just makes me feel better when I listen to it." And that's what I did. And now today we would call that personal growth. And back then we didn't call it that. It was just good feel stuff, right? We just listen to it, makes you feel good. Okay. Makes you think positive. And that's what I did back then. And then finally, you know, like I said, network marketing, I was a hobbyist to it. And so I would, you know, just like to get in front of groups, do presentations, do meetings and all that. So it was a second income. It wasn't my main income. But then after 13 years, like I said, of having that business, then my two major accounts that I had decided to save money that year, and they terminated my services. And that was it. I had zero money coming in, zero money. So we talk about COVID being a disruptor. We talk about how leaders learn to adapt and reinvent themselves. And that's what people are having to do today. That's what I did back then. And so I thought to myself, oh gosh, you know, here I am. I don't have any money coming in. No bank's going to loan me money because I went bankrupt, and I can't start another business. And frankly, I don't want another business because I don't like employees. I was always hiring and firing people all the time, and I was sick of it. And I thought, you know, what is wrong with you? I'm having a conversation with myself, right? I said, what is wrong with you? you've been telling people network marketing is the greatest thing out there, that everybody should be involved in it. And, why don't you live your message? You've been a hobbyist now for 14 years. Why not be serious now? So I decided to go and search for a company. I found a company. Now, this is back in 1993. So, and so I found the company, and then I thought, well, I found the company, but I don't have any money to get started. I have zero money. When I mean zero, I mean zero money. And by the way, I had a chance to share this story. I don't know if you ever heard of Anthony Robbins. If you haven't heard of Anthony Robbins, you're missing out big. I shared this story with Tony a little more than a year ago when we met. And because at that very time, at my lowest point, I was committed to personal growth. And so I got these cassette tapes on Tony's book, Unlimited Power. Now, if you go to YouTube and just type in personal power, that is it. That is the cassettes. And there's actually 30 different videos for 30 different cassette tapes that they had at that time. I paid $179 for it back then. You can get it for free. You'll see personal power day 1, day 2, day 3. That information is just as relevant now as it was back then. But back then, every day I would listen to it because it was just what I needed. Because the thing about leadership is, people define it in different ways, right? Leadership is simply the ability to influence others and move them into action. That's it. It's all about influence. Nothing more, nothing less. That's all leadership is, influence. But at the same time, I can tell you that leadership without integrity will never work. It will never work. Because once you lose integrity, you no longer have the ability to influence others. Your influence is gone. That's why integrity has to go hand in hand with it. But going back to my getting started, so I can remember I found a network marketing company, but I didn't have any money to get started. But at the same time, I was listening to Tony Robbins cassette tapes on personal power every day, taking notes, asking myself, how do I apply this in my life? And so I sat on the porch feeling sorry for myself. And I thought, what do I do? What do I do? And that's the important thing, because when we go through trials, when we go through adversity, the tendency is to think about what we don't like. I don't like this. I hate being broke. And I'm broke. And I lost my business. That's human nature. To focus on what we don't like, what we're experiencing at the time. Just step outside of that and say, okay, what can I do? The choice of our questions can change your life. And that's what I did. I asked myself, what can I do? And then I opened up my eyes and I looked out in my driveway, and the only thing left from my business was a junk truck. The engine didn't start. One of the tires was flat. I kept the window rolled down so the neighborhood cat could sleep in it. And I thought to myself, that's it. That's my ticket out of here. The junk truck. Now, most people think that dude's crazy, right? What is he talking about? Well, I called the junkyard, and the man came out and said, I'll give you $400 for it. He wanted it for parts, right? $400. I said, take it. I put $200 into groceries. I put $200 into my products at getting started in that company back in March of 1993. And now how many people join a network marketing company and they do nothing? A lot of people. What's the difference? The difference is I was ready. There's an old saying, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And at the time, Tony Robbins was my teacher. And I was listening to his cassettes and just thinking about, what do I got to do? And then I simply made a list of contacts. I started calling people, setting up appointments, and going out and seeing them. Matter of fact, I was so broke at the time, but my sponsor sent me a cell phone. because he knew I couldn't afford a phone bill, and I didn't get reception where I was. And so I would drive up in the hills of Tennessee, out in the country. I remember one day driving out in the country, up in the hills where I could get reception. I remember one day I drove right into a field. I opened up a cattle gate, drove my truck in, closed the gate so the cows didn't get out. And I got my notes out on the hood of the truck. And I started calling people. And the people would hear the cows in the background and they would say, I'm hearing cows. Where are you? Oh, yeah. Well, you know, I like to go out in the country. It's very spiritual, clears my head. You know, I just love the view. And will Saturday at 1 o'clock be okay? I can meet you then. Yeah, great. See you then. Make another phone call, another phone call. I'm filling up my schedule. And I'm doing that talking, walking around. There's cow crap all over the field, right? That's my executive office. That is my executive office. So that's how I got started. Somebody'd say, well, it sounds horrible, you know? Well, as you listen to the story, and it won't take much longer on this story, but I can tell you that was the beginning of me earning 38 million US dollars. I just want to give you the big picture real quick, because that's where the journey led me. Not immediately. No, of course not. That was the beginning. And then I would drive out and see people, make appointments, have them gathering, you know, maybe in free rooms at a restaurant where we could do a meeting, whatever it took. I mean, I was meeting people. I was doing meetings in churches, hotels, people's homes. I would meet them in a cornfield if that's where we're going to do our meeting. I didn't care, wherever they could gather people. But I wanted it bad. And see, that's the thing. When it comes to leadership, it's going to be a test of how really committed are you to your future? How committed are you to your dreams? How committed you are to your family if you have a family and you have children? If you won't do it for yourself, would you do it for your children? And so at that time, I was ready. I was more than ready. And if you've never seen that movie, Gone with the Wind, maybe some of you have seen the movie Gone with the Wind, but it had to go back to the history of the Civil War when a lot of families and their businesses were decimated from the war. And this one woman, Scarlett O'Hara, went back to the farm, this beautiful, what used to be a beautiful farm, and just trying to find something to eat. She was digging in the ground, trying to find a turnip or something. And she couldn't find anything. And then she just stood up. And it was a powerful moment in the movie where she had a handful of dirt and she held her hand against the sky. And she said, "So help me God, I will do whatever it takes, but I'm never coming back here again." In other words, I'm never going to be in this state again. I'm never going to be in these circumstances again. I will pay the price. I call that threshold. Threshold is the point of no return. Threshold is where you will forever hold yourself accountable. You will kick your butt. You will do whatever it takes to achieve your dreams. You're going to pay the price. And you're not looking for an excuse. And so that was the state I was at. When we talk about why some people don't make it in network marketing, others do. Well, it's the same answer for any profession. Whether you're going to you're going to perform in a soccer game or whatever your sport is, or if it's the real estate, or if it's in the stock market, or whatever profession you're going to go into, it's going to come down to, do you perform? How do you perform? How do you show up? And so I was ready to show up in a big way. And it wasn't easy at that time. Like I said, I was behind paying the bank 3 months on my truck. I had not paid my utilities, my electricity, water, and all that. I remember one day getting a knock at the door, and the utility man was there, and he said, "Sir, I'm here to get a check for your utilities, or I got to turn them off." And I said, "Oh yeah, right. Okay." I said, "I left my checkbook out in the truck, in the driveway. Let me write you a check." He said, "Okay." Well, what I didn't know was the bank that morning came and got my truck. They repossessed it. They took it away. So I go out to my driveway. It's not there. It's not there. I looked at him. I said, where's my truck? Was here. It's gone. Where's my truck? Like he would know, right? He looked at me and said, you look like a man with problems. Turns off all my utilities. And then this old man, he was an engineer, good friend of mine. He gave me the money to get my utilities turned back on, and he gave me a car to drive around. The car looked like it had been in his family 4 generations. It did have a little paint left on it. But I could get around with that car. Of course, when I would go out and prospect or see people, I'd always hide the car, just, walk into a restaurant wherever I meet them, but I would park it far from their eye. But anyway, at that time, I can remember I had to do a meeting like 8 hours away. I decided to get the oil changed. And so the man that changed my oil, he did not tighten down the cap where the oil filter was. So it was spewing out oil as I'm driving up the highway. And of course, I'm thinking about what Anthony Robbins talked about that morning on the cassette. I was taking notes, and now I got a team that's growing and doing well. But I'm driving up the highway and thinking, man, it's coming together. I can see it now. I'm growing. I got good leaders now that have joined me. Things are happening. It's going to work. It's going to be great. And then it's boom, boom, bam, bam. I'm on the side of the road, the engine locked up. And then I'm having to do this. I don't know if you have that in your country. On the highway, a truck picks me up, takes me to a place where I can call my father. And of course, my father is a university graduate. He was also in the Navy. My two brothers and my sisters, all university graduates, which is great. Me, I went as far as high school. I was like, I'm an entrepreneur. That's what I am. I don't know where I'm going to go with it, but I got to go with it. And so my family's having meetings, discussing me and my life, how my life has gone down the toilet, losing my business and everything, going into bankruptcy. And now I'm in this network marketing profession, which they didn't understand the profession too well. So I called my father and said, hey, my car locked up. I told him the story, what happened. I got to do a meeting tonight. I need a car. And I can remember my father saying to me, son, I think it's about time you get a job. And I'm like, it's the last thing I want to hear from my father. And anyway, he gave me a car. I did get the meeting done. I did get back. And then eventually I found a way to get another vehicle by his help and get things, so I had a vehicle to get around. I remember when I got back, I had 100 messages on my answering machine. So you young people, if you don't know what an answering machine is, Google it. But 100 messages on my answering machine, and it was all my creditors wanting their money. And I remember my friend was with me, and he looked, he said, wow, you could see it 100, 100 messages on what he said, what are you going to do? And I said, I'll show you. And I walked up and I unplugged it and plugged it back in. I said, wow, look at that. It went back to 0. Because you know what? I was not going to give that any time, and I wasn't going to think about it because I knew where I wanted to go. And I stayed focused on that. So I kept listening to Anthony Robbins cassette tapes. Again, leadership is, keep in mind, every leader is mentored by another leader. Everybody has mentors. Everybody is standing on the shoulders of someone else. Okay. Nobody is the original author of all this stuff. I think it goes back to God. He's the only one that could get permanent credit for this. Okay. But every Sunday, and this is really the turning point for me. This is the turning point for me because I'm applying everything that Anthony Robbins was teaching. And I really believe that if you're going to be successful in anything, whether it's network marketing or the profession that you're choosing to do, whatever excites you, or even if it's marriage, or family life, whatever it is, it's all going to go back to your psychology. I think the reason why, in case of network marketing, why most fail is, and it's really true in all fields of life, is simply the psychology is wrong. Change the psychology, you'll change the results. That's what I learned from Anthony Robbins. I mean, it's really true. And as a matter of fact, before the pandemic broke out, I went to a Tony Robbins event here in the United States. We had 5,000 people at that event, you know, and man, it was quite exciting. It was a 7-day event. It just every day, man, there was so much we learned. But, you know, I just remember him saying, look, you know, there's nothing wrong with you. It's just that you're wired wrong, but we're going to get you wired right. And but I can tell you, and again, I love sharing this story with Anthony. When we had dinner one night, we all talked, and I had a chance to tell him. And he's hard to get close to. He's got bodyguards. He's a multi billionaire. That's a B, not an M, billionaire. And I had a chance to share this with him. But every Sunday, I had a routine that I would go down what I call Dream Street. There's actually more than one street, but I call it Dream Street because there was one main street I always enjoyed walking, but I walked around, and this is where all the rich people live. They had these big, beautiful mansions and everything. And I used to walk down this street on every Sunday, and I would look at these beautiful houses, and you know, I'd look at that house or one house, and I'd say, wow, the pillars out front. It was built, you know, in the 1800s, just a beautiful home. And I said, that one with the pillars, yeah, I'm going to have a house just like that. Yeah. And the rose gardens, the perennial gardens. Yeah. And I'm going to have a gardener too. And the Mercedes in the driveway, I'm going to put a BMW next to it. And I would rehearse that every Sunday, just keep going out there. Every Sunday, keep going out. And I walk down Dream Street, just saying to myself, yeah, this is the way it's going to be. This is the way my life's going to turn out. Now, some would call that the law of attraction, that whatever you think about most is what you attract in your life. If you haven't checked out that book, the book, you know, I was acting that whole thing out. The book wasn't even written. And later, just a few years ago, I heard about the book and I listened to it. I said, well, that's exactly what I was doing. I should have wrote the book. But it's really true, because in 18 months, I went from broke to going into one of those houses that I imagined. In 18 months, it had the pillars out front. It was built in the year 1860. I had the gardens. And of course, yes, everything else, the Mercedes, the BMW, everything. But in 18 months, I was there. I went from bankrupt, broke, no money, 18 months going into the house of my dreams. See, that doesn't happen by accident. That's intentional. That's intentional. But again, if I go back and think at the time that I lost my business, and I went bankrupt, I lost my 2 major accounts and I had no money coming in. I was at the lowest point of my life. It was really the best thing that ever happened to me. It was the best thing that could ever happen to me. And if you came up to me at that time and say, hey man, this is great. This is the best thing that could ever happen to you, I'd probably punch you, okay? Because that's not the way I felt. But see, what I didn't know, what was around the corner. And what was around the corner was something big and huge. And I finally realized that it was the best thing. Losing that business was the best thing that ever happened to me. But I had to reinvent myself. That took leadership to do that. I had to ask a different set of questions. I had to change my psychology. I couldn't remain the same way. I mean, you know, the circumstances that I found myself, I had to have a different set of thinking to get myself out of those circumstances. So, you know, Tony Robbins says that when you don't have resources, you become resourceful. That's right. So I sold a junk truck. I didn't have any money. Now, I had a lot of excuses. I could remain in that state. I could stay broke. I could say, this is the way my life's going to be. You know, I'm going to be like this. That's not leadership. Because again, leadership is making decisions and actions when it's very difficult, not easy to do. And then, but it really, my story didn't end. And I teach lessons basically best by stories because those are my experiences. But I had a 6-year home with that company, 6 years. And then the company was sold. And the new owners came in and they were idiots. And they thought they would motivate us. So they doubled the requirements in the compensation plan, which totally crushed my team. And my leaders started going different directions, looking for, a company. And I knew I had to look for a company as well. We were all looking for a different company at that time. And I, again, just like losing my business back in the year 1993, I lost my network marketing business by virtue of what they did. And it was the worst thing that could ever happen to me. I thought it was again, I'm at a low point again. And yet what I didn't know, it was the best thing that could ever happen to me. And again, if you came around and said, hey man, I'm glad you lost your business, I think it's the best thing ever, I'd probably punch you. Okay. Because that's not the way I felt. I didn't feel good about it. I was upset about it. At the same time, I was looking for a company. I knew I had to find a company. By the time I found the company, a lot of my leaders in the other company, they all scattered, went different directions. And so then I thought, oh gosh, I got to do this all over again. I don't want to do this again. And matter of fact, the people that I was talking to about joining with at the time, they were saying, hey, are you ready to get started? I said, no. I'm gonna paint my house. It was built in the year 1860, by the way. And as I mentioned, and I said, I'm gonna paint my house. He said, okay, all right. And then he called me back a week later. You ready to get started? No. I mentally, emotionally, I was not ready. And he said, well, how long are you going to be painting your house? It's a big house. That was always my answer. And so then he talked to his partner. He said, I don't think he's going to do it. He said, no, he's going to do it. He's going to do it. He's just angry right now. Just give him some space. He's going to do it. And so finally he calls me up New Year's Eve and he says, Jeff, are you ready to get started? I said, it's like this. It's New Year's Eve. So tonight I'm going to go out and I'm going to drink and I'm going to think. And tomorrow will be my go date. And so the next day, I remember going up in that room and closing the door, thinking to myself, I can't believe I'm going to do this again. I think I need a psychologist. But I was listening to Tony Robbins, all those reminders. Tony, adversity will make you great. That's what he always said. Adversity will make you great. I thought, I don't even have a team to start with. I'm starting all over again. And so that was it. I said, okay, let's do it. 8 to faint. 8 in the morning till I faint. Every day I'm going to be making phone calls and I'm going to build a team. And that's exactly what I did. And by the end of 90 days, I had a team of 800 people. After that, I can tell you I've been part-time ever since. Over 21 years ago, I've been part-time ever since. What do I mean by that? I mean that my day is not consumed by my network marketing business. Again, it's a residual income, right? So in a period of 2 years, I sponsored 72 people. Today, I have 700,000 in 57 countries that order around $30 million a month. I get a percentage of it all. So I've traveled the world, lived in different countries. In fact, I even rented a house in Mumbai, India, where I stayed there as my base when I was working in India. Matter of fact, I just got done doing a Zoom call with a group of Indians in the Northeast. If you know where Nagaland is, some of you leaders or some of you friends out there, I just did a group a Zoom with Nagaland leaders. That was really interesting. So that's the way I've lived my life. Total freedom, being debt free. Again, going back to network marketing and reinventing yourself. So along with COVID, when I talk to business leaders, I talk to them about the importance of, I know you don't like your circumstances. Maybe it's been a disruption for you, maybe a disruption for your business, but how can you use this to your advantage? How can you do that? Because that's what I did. I had to reinvent myself more than once in life and just keep going. And I found that every time I did it, it got greater. It was more powerful than it ever was before. I said, I promise you, you're going to see great things come from this, but you got to take advantage of it. And during the COVID pandemic, there's a saying, don't let a crisis go to waste. I said, even though the COVID has been a negative experience for so many of us, there's opportunities, tremendous opportunities out there that you can leverage on it as well. And so, hang on one second. And so the thing about it is, what do I love about this is the, just the fact that it's been a journey. And when I look at leadership, and again, I even tell my leaders in my business, leadership begins at home. If you can't raise children, you're probably not going to be a good leader with your business partners. If you can't show leadership in your family properly, you're not going to be able to do it in your business. So somebody asked me, where does it start? It starts right there in your home. It starts from the time that you wake up. How do you talk to your children? How do you talk to your wife? You can't be one person one way and try to be another in business. So I just think that it's just important that we understand that leadership, when I see it, it just begins in the home. It begins in your own personal life and how you live your life. And then I can say, if you haven't read the book by Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People, you should read that book. If there's only one personal growth book, I guess you could say, that you could ever read, if there was only one, then that would be the one. Because I learned a lot from Tony Robbins in terms of the importance of psychology, how it impacts your personal life and your business life. But also how to win friends and influence people was very important, because in the business that I'm in, we're in the people business. People are our business. So I don't focus on the products so much as I do the people. The products are important, but the products will just sit there. They'll never move if you don't have people. So people, and so whatever field or business that you're going to be in, you're going to be around people. You're going to have to interact with people. You're going to have to know how to communicate. And for you younger people, this might be a little challenging. You're going to have to learn how to listen. See, even with my children, it's, my youngest son, a lot of the young people are so online. They're so, they're used to texting. They're used to doing everything electronically. So they're not interfacing with people so much. So try to up your game when it comes to communication. See how good you are at listening. See how long you can linger in a conversation when somebody's talking to you. Those were skills that I already had in place. So I didn't have to learn that. I mean, after I read that book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, when I could sit down at a table having lunch with somebody, I would linger in the conversation. I would take an interest in the person. I didn't make it about me. I made it about that person. I would ask questions. I remember one time meeting a lady in Singapore. When I was in Singapore having lunch with a lady, I said, so tell me about yourself. What have you been doing all these years? She would tell me, and then I'd ask other questions. How's that work? How's that going now? How do you feel about it? Questions like that, just getting in the conversation. And so I ended up sponsoring her. Now she does around $2 million a month, just that lady. still after all these years. She has a tremendous business. But that's what I'm saying. You're going to find that whatever field or whatever you go in, it won't matter. It doesn't matter. Your ability to be able to connect with people, understand people, listen to people is very important. When I talk to my youngest son sometimes and I'm talking, you know, I can say, okay, what did I say? What do you mean? Okay, so you didn't listen. You didn't listen. So then I have to repeat it. That takes more work. So now I'm going to say it again, and let's see if you can remember what I said. And I'll say it again. I said, now tell me what I said. Because sometimes we have those conversations. And even when he gets around some of his friends, I say, listen, I want you to take an interest in your friends and talk to your friends. I want you to ask them what have they been doing lately, linger in the conversation, get into the details of it. I want you to take an interest in people. Because the challenge with a lot of young people today is they're so into their devices, but they're not into people. And so the one thing I want to really stress is whatever field you're going into, be into people. People is where it's at. And if you can love people, if you can resonate with people, if you can show interest in their lives, and listening is an important gateway, because listening and understanding gives you the power to ask other questions, to open other doors in your relationship with them. And again, you have to listen when they're talking again. There's a saying that nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. And see, it's very powerful. And so your relationship, and in our business, relationships are everything. How do I still have a business that does $30 million a month? I do it because I have relationships. I have relationships with leaders around the world. They have relationships with leaders around the world, so on and so forth. And so the thing is, it's all based on that. That is the sticky stuff. That's the glue that keeps people together. But whatever field you go into, I promise you, you're going to have to interface with people. You're going to have to deal with people. Just like earlier today, I was on a Zoom call and I was talking about personality clashes others are having, sometimes arguments and fights and things like that. And I have to be the mediator and try to diffuse those kind of situations and give advice about what to do. So again, it's fine. It's all good. It's all good. But I can tell you that if you up your skills in that area with people and you learn how to win friends and influence people, you can go anywhere in life you want to go. It doesn't have to be network marketing. No, it doesn't have to be at all. As a matter of fact, even my children, network marketing is not the only thing I do. Now, I do love music, and I'm a songwriter. I have 4 CDs on iTunes. So I have a band. So now my band is overseas in Asia. And so they're tremendous musicians, all of them. They're so incredible musicians. But when I have new material and all that, we get together, we go over the material, then we go into a studio and we go for it. And sometimes we go 5 days in a row just in a studio. And I love, you ask me what do I love to do? I love to go in a studio. I just like to create. That's what I love to do. And it's cool. I mean, just to create material and then meet interesting people. And so that's one of my passions. My wife, she's accomplished on the piano. She was a music entertainer for 20 years in Taiwan. I met her at a piano bar when she was playing and singing. And I said, man, you're good, I asked her for her card. That's how I met her. And then our children, they play piano too. I mean, really great. My oldest son is very, very good at piano. My youngest son is still learning, but he's good. And so again, that's one of my passions is songwriting, music. That's what I love to do. So there's other things I diversify into. Vacation rental property is another thing. I tell people one thing that's great about network marketing, you teach people how to introduce it to other people. So people are purchasing your products, purchasing your services. You're getting paid when you're golfing, swimming, sleeping, whatever, traveling, vacationing, doesn't matter. It's all residual. But you can take that money and you can invest it in the stock market. You can invest it in Bitcoin, Ethereum. I did that. Made a lot of money in that. Vacation rental property. You get multiple things going on that generate what? Residual income. They're all residual. I don't like things that take my time. That's the thing that I do. I don't mind putting my time in something in the beginning, but the end game is it has to be residual, or I'm not going to give my time to it. You know, because you can only trade time for money for so long. And what's going to happen, what's going to catch up with you will be aging, or God forbid, you're in a car wreck or struck down with an illness, right? Yeah. So we don't know, right? That's the reason why finding a plan, a financial plan, and that's part of leadership too. Leadership is responsibility. It's responsibility. Responsible for your own life, responsible for the lives of maybe family members. So my end game is it has to be something that's residual, because what if you can't trade time for money anymore? Then what are you going to do? Now you got a problem. So there's a saying, you know, dig your well before you're thirsty. Okay. So I thought about that a long time ago, many years ago, over 20 some years ago, I thought about that. Hey, I'm in my 40s at that time when I had to reinvent myself again. And I thought, okay, what's life going to be like when I'm 60? You know, well, you got to do something about it now because you may not like it. Well, I'm going to do something about it now. Like I said, in 90 days, I was there in 90 days. So I had my business up and running. After that, I've been loving life, living life, and living a residual life in terms of my multiple businesses that I'm in today, between my music, my cryptocurrency, my stock market, my real estate, vacation rental property businesses, all of that. But network marketing was the beginning point. So the thing is, I hope you got some value out of this. And the main thing is, again, I can't overstress the importance of how to win friends and influence people. Make sure you're upping your game in people skills, your communication, the quality of your communication, the interest you show in people, your ability to listen, because that's not easy, right? Listening takes work. Listen, because human nature is we're always thinking about how to respond to what you just said. Once we do that, we're no longer listening. We disengaged. So listening is the most hardest part of communication, the hardest part. And I learned this lesson too from my wife too, because when I'm driving a car and she's wanting to talk and I'm, yeah, She said, what did I say? You didn't listen. Now I'm in the doghouse. There's nothing that makes her more angry than that. There's nothing that makes her more angry than that. So get good at these skills, get good at these people skills. And the other thing is Anthony Robbins, watch your psychology, improve your psychology, be committed to your personal growth. If you want to be successful in anything, it's going to be dependent on who you are inside. And so if you continue to develop and plug into mentors like him, like Tony, it's going to show up. And when you show up around other people, they're going to notice a different you. They're going to see you and say, wow, that person's got something going on. I don't know what it is, but they got something going on. I feel good around that person. They're positive. They're a thinker. They take an interest in me. Nobody's interested in me. Even my family's not interested in me, but that person's interested in me. You're going to impact others. And the one thing I believe is you cannot have income without impact. So income or impact comes before income. But if you have an impact in people's lives, in your business, you're going to see the money flow. It'll chase you down and it will overtake you. And that's been my experience. So it's been fun spending time with you today. It's been a joy. I hope you enjoy the rest of your time with who's going to be on now. I may have went over the time I was supposed to be speaking, but I apologize if I did that. But I hope you got value from this. And thanks for being here.
Awesome, Jeff sir. It was really fabulous interaction. And as usual, you have about great energy in this training room. Yes, guys, have you received great energy? Please show that energy to Honorable Sir Jeff.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
You can see, sir, what kind of love is there. Yes, yes. As I have already told you guys in this my book, The Dynamic Communicator, already Honorable Jeff sir, he is there, and his review always it's start. And today I'm very honored to tell, sir, our book is Amazon bestseller book now.
Whoa, wow. So proud of you. And what a great title. Man, I tell you, that's it. That is it. Well, thank you. And again, now I got to get on another Zoom call. I'm helping my leaders around the world. They've got different goals this month. What's that?
Yes, sir. 1 or 2 questions. Shall we go for that, sir?
Oh, yeah, let's do it. Absolutely. Let's go.
Yes, guys. Anybody has questions in your mind?
You can, don't be shy.
Today in this training room.
You don't have to be shy.
Yes, Honorable Dr. Prashant sir is also with us, guys. Where Jeff,
is that Priti? I think Priti has got a question.
Yeah, Priti ji, go ahead, please.
Hello, sir. Great morning.
Good morning.
Sir, my question, yes, sir. My question is that what type of recognition do you value most?
Yeah, that's a very good question. What recognition do I value the most? Wow, what an intelligent question. I'll tell you the short answer. I recognize not just results, I recognize effort. Because not everybody gets results, right? They put out the effort, but they don't always get the results. So the way that life is with companies out there, even network marketing companies, for example, will recognize results, but they do not recognize effort. Now, I don't recognize intention because there's a difference, you know what I mean? Somebody might think, well, one day I'm going to do this. Okay. No. Okay. There's a big difference between that and doing the effort. And somebody really strives. Maybe they don't. And it goes back to goal setting. To me, again, how it is in life is they'll have a goal. If you don't hit the goal, then you're a failure. That's it. So really, you know, the risk is, and this is why people avoid goal setting, is the risk is I won't hit the goal and I'll be a failure. And I don't want anybody telling me I'm a failure. So I don't think I'll set a goal. I'll just play it safe, you know? So what I told the leaders the other day on a Zoom call, I said, I want you to understand something about goals and goal setting. The purpose of the goal is not to hit the goal. That sounds crazy, right? Well, what? What do you mean? That's the very purpose of a goal. No. That's the definition they set up for it. That's not my definition. The purpose of the goal is what you become in the journey. So if you have a goal this month, and let's say in the month of June, and your goal is to hit maybe a certain amount of volume or a rank position or something like that. If you don't do it, you're not a failure. If your team grew anyway that month, your income went up anyway that month, and you learned so much in that short period of 30, 31 days in a month, you learn so much. How can they say you're a failure? You're not a failure. You accomplished a lot. You should be very grateful for it. And I'm a firm believer, you know, if God gives you blessings, whatever he puts in your hand, if you're not grateful for it, you're not thankful for it, he's not going to give you any more. Why should he? Okay. Why should he? Because we can't get any more if we're not grateful for what we have. I remember many years ago, I used to say that, oh yeah, it was a good month, but it could have been better. It could have been better. And that's the way I was every month. I was always saying that it could have been better. And then I caught myself. I said, what are you doing? You know, it's not ever going to be better if you don't change your attitude. You know, you should say, man, it was a great month. I'm so grateful. You know, then it's going to get better. Yeah, that's how it works. So so when it comes to recognition, the most important recognition is the recognition that you give for those people that show effort, not results. Now, if they show results, sure, I'm going to recognize that. Who wouldn't recognize that? We should recognize that. What I'm saying, though, is I think it's really important to recognize and different people are in different circumstances. Some have children, they have families, they have businesses, whatever. And so for the little time that they have, if they even enroll a new business partner for the month, just one person, to some people, that's like, what? Just one? You know, that's it? You know, okay. That's big. That's huge. So I, you know, even in our Facebook groups, our WhatsApp groups, we'll recognize people. Hey, so-and-so just did this, you know, just sponsored one business partner. Wow, isn't that awesome? Everybody's cheering them on. Oh, that's awesome. Because that's culture right there. If you have the right culture, then you're going to have a team explode. And so again, a culture that recognizes effort, not just results, you're going to see a team just thrive and do very, very well. And I think that's one reason why, you know, I've been blessed with a lot of great leaders, because I've guided them that way, that this is what we got to be. I don't want to be like all these other companies that only recognize results. They don't understand the business we're in. Okay, we're in the people business, and people make effort. And the thing is, if you recognize that effort and cheer them on, then you're going to see them show up even bigger after that. And it's just going to get huge. But that was a good question. Anyone else have a question? You can, if you want to type it in or write it, you can do that if you're too shy to speak in the microphone. Thank you for asking that.
Before going for next question, one request to you, sir. Today we have to inaugurate our website, sir, by your auspicious hand, in the presence of Honorable Bettina ma'am, Honorable Bettina Thesin, Utha ma'am, Rashmi ji, Honorable Professor Sachin sir, Dr. Prashant sir, our dynamic leaders. Could you please share your screen and type the www.iecenter.com, sir?
Can I do that?
Yes, sir, please.
Oh,
I'm sharing you, sir, in chat box.
I can't put it where I am. I don't know how to do that. Pardon?
I shared you in chat box, sir.
Oh, in the chat box.
I shared you in chat box. Yes, sir. And you have one option over there, share screen.
You know, I am not a techie person, so I'm not the person that's good at that. Let me see if I can.
Yes, sir.
Let me see. Add to the home screen. Is it add to the home screen? Okay. Oh, did I don't guess I did it. You know, the funny thing is, anytime I get on Zoom calls, it's always somebody else that is sharing the screen. So you asked me to do that. My mind goes blank. I don't ever do that. Can you not do it on your end?
No problem, sir. Here yes, sir. Yes, surely. Gaurav, please share the screen and please type it. So officially, we are going to do it today. As
there you go. There you go. The dynamic communicator. Great. Yeah, I love that.
Please make a huge round of clap, as officially we have inaugurated by Honorable Jeff Serves and in all your presence, guys.
Wow, that's awesome.
This is our website, iecenter.com. After this workshop, you may please visit over there. And of course, in this website, you are seeing those our courses are there, services are there, which we are providing through this special grammar batch, dynamic English communication, leadership development. Till date, we have trained 17,000 youngsters as well as professional jobs, sir. We have conducted 1,300 workshops, seminars throughout the nation, and through the webinars, we are converting to the globes also. 4 lakhs youngsters, people we have influenced, sir, and we do have 18 years of exposure in the journey. And as you are saying, guys, here is the personality. Honorable Jeff sir, Honorable Vishwaji Nangre Patil sir, Dr. Puvensuri Muthan. These are the personalities, their reviews we have added. As in this journey, again, big role played by I. Ratna, Dr. Prashantji Dahire sir. Jeff sir's review is also there. Yes, sir.
Wow,
Is it
so nice.
visible
Thank you.
Jeff?
Yes, very much. Very much. Very nice.
Thank you very much. Yes,
And
guys, we will move towards another question.
do we have another
one
question?
gold worksheet also there.
Oh,
yes,
wonderful.
Nagesh,
Yes, sir,
from
yes.
Germany, from Germany. Thank you very much.
Hey, Bettina,
Done
good to see
so
you.
much for us. And yes, dear sir, Jeff ALTGILBERS, greetings from Germany, from Positive Global Change, and Dr.
So
Angel
nice to
Junior.
see you.
Yes, thank you very much. And we are so proud to go together. I love India and I love this session because you are a great personality who we can learn so much of you. And I like how you share your story. And I think storytelling is a very good part to connect with other people. And when you are thinking about impact at first and income later, what can you give us an example for be an impact personality? I know I have a heart for India. Perhaps it is my impact. I don't know. I will try my best to do it. What was your impact to go out of your comfort zone and to show up with this great business you have done?
Well, that's a good question. Sometimes when we think about that, we think about like doing something superhuman, right? But actually, when we talk about impact, it's just even small things. For example, just the other day, matter of fact, I have a rental property, a vacation rental property, and this lady is a psychologist from Chicago. She and her family was staying at my property, and she was just asking me, "What do you do?" And I said, "I live off residual income. That's what I do." Of course, I do that because I want to create curiosity, but I'm also telling her the truth. But she says, "Well, how do you live off residual income?" I said, "Well, that's a good question." And then I said, "Network marketing." And long story short, and keep in mind, prior to her asking these questions, she reached out to me and said, "Hey, we just got in from Chicago. We're tired." And I said, "Oh," she asked me some things that where a grocery store is, things like that. And she said, "I'd like to have a cup of coffee." And I said, "Listen, I'll bring you some coffee right now." So I brought her over coffee. I brought her a bottle of wine. I said, "Here, you can drink the wine when you're finally settled in for the night, but the coffee you can have now to give you the energy to go to the store. How about that?" That's impact. See, leadership, when we think about it, it's not positional. It's being a servant leader is what leadership is all about. So that means that we do things for people. We don't expect things from people. And so that's what I was doing for her. And so it just made an impression on her. That's impact. She had a need, so I filled that need. I filled that need. That's impact. I've had, but and again, this is even my network marketing business. I always slot a percentage every month goes to, a lot of times it's 10% or more to other things out there. I'm not bragging or anything like that. There's families in need. There's been a lot of families hurt by COVID that have reached out to me. I mean, just for their necessities, just for food. And so every month, once I get my commission earnings from my company, that's the first thing. Okay, who's it going to? What's it going for? Some for others, it's medicine. If they don't get that medicine, they're going to die. So it's things like that. It's impact. And but back when I started, when I didn't have any money, again, it's a matter again of just, what can you do for people, and how can you, again, when you're going back to what I was saying, when you're a very good listener, you're already a giver. If you can linger in the conversation, you're already a giver because you're listening. They don't get that from others. Again, a lot of people are being trained to connect only to devices, not people. And so their ability to listen is greatly diminished today. And even myself, I have to ask myself when I'm talking to somebody, okay, how's your listening? Stay in it. Stay in it. Let's see how long you can linger before you break, you know? And I'll tell you, Tony Robbins, he's a listener. Man, my gosh, that guy's a listener. Because when I was telling him my story, how his cassettes changed my life, when we hugged and I was telling the story, he just stayed in the embrace and I was whispering the story in his ear. And man, he stayed in the story, stayed in the story, stayed in the story. It was amazing. And I said, you changed my life. And he looked at me and smiled and he said, but you did it. You know, it was a powerful moment. But going back to that, you know, and Tony, you know, why is Tony still doing what he's doing? He's not doing it for money. Oh my gosh. He's made so much money that he could go 4 generations and his family would never spend all that money. So then why is he doing it? Impact. That's what he lives for. That's all, you know, he just wants to live a life of contribution. So when we think about it, our income is going to be in proportion to how many people in life we've helped. If we don't give contribution, we don't need to expect much. But again, go back to, you don't have to do anything spectacular. It's those small things that, you know, when you see a need, fill it. I'll give you another example. I remember, because since we've been in this pandemic, I haven't been able to travel because a lot of these countries are locked down. Normally I'm on a plane flying somewhere, going to some country, and then we do events and things like that. But I've been stuck here for a year, right? My son just showed up. He's having lunch, right? We've been here a year, right? I'm your father, remember? Anyway, so anyway, they're always reminding, are we going to go anywhere? Yeah, we go to the lake. There's things we do.
Let's go to Red Lobster.
Yeah, but we don't get on planes right now. That's all. But anyway, so I was with a friend right before the pandemic. We were driving up the street and there was these old people. They had a piece of furniture that they were trying to get from their truck onto their porch so that they could get it in their house. And we were driving by and we could see on their faces, they were struggling. And I looked over, I said, what do you think? He said, oh yeah, we should. And I just pulled into their driveway. We got out. I said, listen, we'll take care of that. Don't worry about it. Where would you like it? And so, oh, thank you. We just picked it up, me and him, and brought it in the house. They showed us. They said, oh man, you were such a help. Now, do you think I could get that woman interested in my product if I wanted to? Absolutely. She'd be all ears because I had impact. I made contribution. And which leads to another thing. Why do some people come into this business, such as network marketing, and make, and you'll see some that might struggle a little bit, and then others fly. Why do some fly? And here's why. They made a lot of impact in people's lives prior to their joining the company. We sort of look at it like, illustrate it like a bank. I look at this like relational deposits. Just like a bank, you go in, you make a deposit, right? And if you make enough deposits, you later can do what? Make withdrawals. But if you don't make any deposits, you can't go to the bank and say, hey, I want to make a withdrawal. I need $1,000. You don't have $1,000. You never made a deposit of that sum. Yeah, but I need $1,000. Yeah, well, we can't help you. It's like that. And so when people get into network marketing, sometimes they haven't made those deposits in people's lives. They haven't made those relational deposits. They haven't had any impact. They haven't had any contributions. They haven't been involved with them. And not that they're bad people, by the way. because sometimes those are more introverts. They're more introverts. Okay, that's okay. So they're not bad people. It just means that they might not fly as fast in network marketing. Not that they can't do well, they can do well. But when you got people though that were very, I guess, extroverts, and they made those relational deposits, and then they join a company, and then they fly through the ranks, and other people are going, what is the secret in her sauce? What is she doing? What tools is she using? They're missing the whole picture. What they don't understand is all the things she did prior to joining her company. And so we have a saying, or I have a saying that you'll either be rewarded or punished for the life that you lived prior to joining your company. You'll either be rewarded or punished for the life you lived prior to joining your company. Punished, not in a bad way. I don't want to make it, I just decided because it's more of an impactful word, but just that, just understand that even introverts can do well in network marketing because they can say, okay, all right, I'm going to have to up my game and really show more personal interest in people. Okay. You can't be the Wizard of Oz and be behind the curtain and blowing out all the smoke. I'm the great and powerful Oz, and do that and go far in what you want to do. The curtain has got to come off, and then you got to show up differently. It's not that you can't be an introvert. You still can. I've got a friend, probably the greatest trainer in the United States in network marketing is an introvert. He's an introvert. He really is. Ray Higdon, and a friend of mine. And Ray always had a problem with, like sitting down with people and actually having conversations. He gets very self-conscious, and then he just wants to disappear. So Ray, he'll come and do an event on stage. He's great because he doesn't have to interface with you on stage. He can just talk to the crowds and do his thing. He's powerful. But then off stage, if you get him one-on-one, he wants to run because he's an introvert. And I remember we did an event one night, and so I was in the lounge that night after the event, and I was with a lot of the leaders were there, and I was sitting there, and we were watching a ball game there, at the bar, and then Ray, he came right up to me, and I looked over at him. I said, "What are you doing here?" I said, "You don't do this." He said, "I know, but I've been coached." He has a mentor. He said, "I've been coached. I got to break it. I got to become more social. So I got to try." I said, "Well, man, I'm proud of you. I'm glad you did this." So anyway, I didn't mean to give you a long answer on that, on the impact thing, but that really is what it comes down to, is that, again, you're going to be rewarded or punished for the life prior to what is most important to you. So again, it's all about the people, and you're going to have to deal with people if you want to be real successful in the field that you're in. Does anybody else have a question? Make those deposits. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, Jeff, I would like to take one question there.
Hey. How do you say your first name? How do you say that?
Rashmi.
Rashmi. All right. Where in India do you live?
I am basically from Mumbai, but I'm currently based in Dehradun.
Where?
I have been brought up in Mumbai, and I'm right now in Uttarakhand, Dehradun.
Oh, did you say Calcutta?
No, this would be up north. So Dehradun, Dehradun is the capital of Uttarakhand.
Oh, okay, got you. Okay, got you now.
But else I'm a Mumbai girl, so brought up there, and you're just for work. So, Chip, I am a leadership coach as well. And one question that, always pops up in the student circle is it good to have a plan B or rely on one goal and stick to that? Because there are two schools of thought, obviously, that always have a plan B so that you don't fall down hard and you still have something to back up on. And the other school of thought goes that if you have a plan B, you tend to be a little complacent, and therefore you have a kind of a safety net, and therefore you're not so focused on your goal. So what I would love to know your take on that.
I have a plan B, and I have a plan C, and I have a plan D. Okay. So like I said, network marketing has been my career and my focus, and I love it. And that's what I do. But I understand that life is unpredictable. We can't forecast the future, right? The one thing we can count on is change, but change may not be to our advantage. So I'm not saying that you live a life of fear. You don't. I think it's fine to be focused on what your career is, what you're passionate about. At the same time, as I am focused on that, I know that life is unpredictable and that there will be change, and sometimes it doesn't go in my favor. And so, yes, having a safety net is very important, which is why I diversify. But again, here's what I don't do. I don't diversify into other network marketing companies. I don't do that. I don't have a plan B for that. Okay. So I got a field of interest, and that's what I stay in. I don't go in multiple companies because you can't do that. Once my leaders see me doing that, then they're going to do that. Then nobody's focused on anything. And you're not going to be successful if you're not focused. So you got to be focused. But does that mean that you don't have a plan B in terms of how to make money, other than your main career, right? No, you want to do that. And I tell everybody, hey, Bitcoin, Ethereum, I'm a big proponent of that. Absolutely. Like and I'm not an authority. Okay. Here's the other thing. I don't want to be an authority in any of these areas. If I have to be an expert in any of these areas, then yeah, it's very problematic, because then it's going to take my time away from the other things in life I want to do, which is whatever, music, travel, my network marketing business, doing Zoom calls with leaders and things like that. So again, I talked about that earlier, but like last summer, I'm just going to give you an example, because I've had some friends who multimillionaires in Bitcoin. Oh my gosh. I mean, I remember when I lived on the island of Guam, I had one guy that he came to one of my parties that I had at the house, because I had leaders on that island, and met him, but he was always broke. So he'd come to me and say, hey man, they're about to kick me out of my house. I'm 3 months behind in my rent. Can you help me out? Oh yeah, I'll help you out. Okay, sure. Then he'd come back, hey man, my car broke down. I need some money to get it fixed. Can you help me out? Okay, I'll help. He's a total loser in the world's definition. Okay. But I felt sorry for the guy. But guess what? He bought into Bitcoin when it was very little. You could pick it up for dollars, right? Dollars. And guess what? He's got a multi-million-dollar house on the ocean, lives an incredible lifestyle just off his Bitcoin earnings. Okay. I got another friend too. He bought $1 million house, just cashed out some of his Bitcoin on it. So I knew that. And I follow other billionaires like Ray Dalio. He has the largest hedge fund company out there. Tony Robbins, again, he's a major guru. I listen to what he says. And then Ray Dalio says, last summer I was listening to him, cash is trash. Don't sit on a lot of cash, because, the government's going to devalue money, and it's going to, whatever. And so then Tony Robbins says, hey man, stay liquid. Opportunities are coming. I'm like, okay, what do you do? Confusing to me. And I thought, okay, throw it in Bitcoin. Let's see what happens. Throw some money in Bitcoin. So I threw some money in Bitcoin. And so I think, honestly, I think I think I probably had 200,000 US dollars in it, 200,000. My portfolio in like 6 months shot up to $1 million that fast. I had 6 months consecutive. I was making 100,000 a month consecutively for 6 months in Bitcoin and Ethereum. At the same time, this is a tourist area here, so vacation rental properties are big money makers. Like I have a house down the street that, I can make anywhere from $5,000 to $7,000 a week just on that house, So the opportunity came up to buy it, and there were several investors that wanted that house. I knew that house. I knew it was a beautiful location, perfect. I thought, man, I want that house. It'd be a good investment. So they wanted $1,100,000 for that house, $1,100,000. I said, I'll give you $25,000 more than what you're asking. Let's just close the deal. And so they said, okay, deal, done. And I thought, and by the way, I don't know anything about vacation rental property. How I learned that was my next door neighbor has a house just down from me, beautiful, beautiful log cabin, incredible views, same views I've got. And he just messaged me, said, hey, I don't get up there anymore. It was a second home to him. I'm thinking about putting it on the market unless you want to buy it. And I said, okay, I'll buy it from you. So I bought it from him. I thought I'll use it for friends and family, right? People want to go to the log cabin, stay, it'd be cool. Well, nobody was using the log cabin. So then I thought, okay, I'll put it on a VRBO. Do you know what I mean by a VRBO? So I put it on a VRBO. So that's where people will go to a website and they're looking, if they're going to stay in this area, they'll put the town and here, and then that cabin comes up, right? Next thing I know, that cabin's being booked all the time. So I hired a couple of cleaning ladies. You go clean it when they check out, no problem. So that's it. So it's just a cash generator. And so I said, well, I don't know anything about real estate. Don't have to know anything about real estate. I think it's pretty common sense. People want to stay at the place and they're willing to give you money for it. It is a plan B generator, money generator, right? So when this other house came up, I thought, okay, I don't know why I didn't do this a long time ago. Pay attention. I get so focused, Anyway, I put my blinders on and I'm not seeing opportunities. I thought there's a lot of money to be made in vacation rental property. Now, I wouldn't want to buy property and then rent it out by the month. I wouldn't want to do that. No way. All right. So that came up, $1,125,000. I thought, okay. I thought, wow. Well, I hope it rents. I just spent $1 million. Okay. And then at the same time, I put the money in the Bitcoin, and then I thought, oh, wow. So then and this was in January of this year, bought this house, gave him a little over 300,000, something like that for it. $1.1 million. And on the bull run of Bitcoin, I decided to pull out my bull run earnings. Not all. I'm still in Bitcoin and Ethereum, but I pulled out some of my bull run earnings, and that house just about paid it off. The tourists will finish it off this year. And now I'm getting ready next week to close on another $1 million property down below me. It's a beautiful house, beautiful, same views, incredible views of the national park. It's got an in-ground swimming pool. That'll be a major money generator, that house. So I just, and why am it's a hobby to me. I have fun with it. I don't depend on it. So when they pay the money, it just sits in a bank account. That's all. It just sits there. Okay. But it's also a business that, I want my kids to run. My goal is to accumulate a lot of rental property. And it may not just be this area. I may just go for some ocean property somewhere else. I got another friend. Oh my gosh. He probably makes $400,000 a month just off his rental property in Florida. And he's the number one income earner in his company. So he took a lot of his earnings and he created a very strong plan B. If his network marketing company went up in smoke, wouldn't matter. It would not affect him at all. He would be so wealthy just from his real estate. So you do need to have a plan B, because again, you don't know. And so I'm a big believer, and now, I got a lot of money in the stock market, but I don't put money in the stock market right now because we got a horrible president. Okay. I'll be honest with you. The guy's an idiot. So we're in trouble as far as this country, as far as our, what's coming. We see what's coming, but it will affect the world. It'll affect the dollar as a currency. You're going to see already we're going into inflation. And once it goes into hyperinflation, it's really going to get bad. And so there is going to be a lot of rocking from this, and so that's all the more reason why I think it's always good to be diversified in different fields. Some people, there's a lot of opinions about, I laughed the other day when I got a friend, he's in another company, and he says, you see, he puts out a post, is Bitcoin real to you? Is it real money to you? And I made the comment, oh, come on. You already know my experience with it. I got a Bitcoin house down the street. It's a big cash generator. Just about paid it off with Bitcoin. What do you mean, is it real money? Of course it's real money. What's great about it is that governments can't devalue it. The US government, they can devalue the US dollar. Our current president can do that. Okay, so he can be stupid with our money and devalue it, but he cannot devalue Bitcoin. And so what's going to drive Bitcoin and Ethereum is their policies in this country and what they're doing with our money. People will get insecure. When they get insecure, they're going to go to the only safety net they can find. That'll be cryptocurrency. And so anyway, but I see a great future with it. And so I think it's good now, it's not the only, like I said, it's multiple things. But I think, I want to be focused on the one thing that, my business, my network, in my case, my network marketing profession is my focus. That's where my time goes. That's my cash generator. But it's what I do with that cash after that matters. Then I want to go to my plan B. What's my plan B? Your investments. You have multiple investments. Be very smart about that. Then if your plan A goes up in smoke, doesn't matter. Your investments are going to take care of you. That was a long answer, wasn't it? I'm just passionate about that, and I tell all my leaders do that. I tell them, I said, for example, if you're making, $20,000 a month in your network marketing company, okay, and you say, gee whiz, I wish I could get my check up. I wish I could get my income up. Well, we don't, I'm not complaining. I'm glad I can get 20,000, but we don't seem to be growing. I mean, okay, fine. Take your money and look what I did. Heck, I had 6 months in a row where my income was up 100,000 a month consecutively. Oh my gosh. You know what you'd have to do in a network marketing company? How much volume you would have to generate to make that kind of money? It's insane. And how much time it would take? And you did in 6 months. Now, this is my conversation with myself. I'm like, this is insane, And what's driving it? What's driving it is insecurity that people have about their own currency. They're worried about it, and they need to be worried about it. Of course, the Chinese are really happy about it. Okay, and they love it. They love to see the dollar diminish. But I'm just saying, it's good to have a plan B. It's good to think about these things. And these people that say, "Oh no, I'm just gonna, your money's only coming from one thing." That's dangerous.
Right. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Anybody else with a question?
And thank you for introducing the strangest secret to this house. I don't know how many of these young students have been listening to that, but definitely it's available on YouTube in Hindi as well as in English. So definitely go for it. I have been practicing that. So Blessing is my mentor, and he introduced that to me. And I've been listening to that on a daily basis, and it's really life transforming. So definitely go ahead for that.
Wow. Earl Nightingale, you've listened to. I'm impressed.
Right.
I am impressed. Okay. Anything else? Any questions?
Jeff sir, I have one question.
Okay. Nice to meet you.
Yes, sir.
Where are you from? Where do you live?
My name is Gaurav, sir. I am from Uttarakhand, India. And I'm a student of Nagesh, sir.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So I have a question, sir. As you have said, leadership is all about influence and responsibilities. And at the end, business is all about people and how are you connecting with the people, how are you building relationships. And sir, you have a great influence in more than 57 countries. So how do you keep your team motivated despite of conflicts and obstacles?
Yeah, that's a good question too. So what's motivation, conflicts? All right, motivation, let's just say, we'll do Zoom calls together. And again, they follow me on Facebook. They follow me on Instagram. We have Facebook groups too. For, you know, our Facebook groups, we have like a product group. I know one group, they have 20,000 members in that group. But in our groups, we communicate, we share information. We're very encouraging in that sense. So it's all about, you know, the quality of your communication is the motivation. So if you've got platforms that you're using, as well as show up in your content to the people that connect with you, like, you know, the people that are important to you, right? So every day, you know, I'm putting something out on Facebook, I'm putting something out on Instagram. And what's good about that, like with my leaders spread around the world, they're like, oh, he's still in the saddle, man. Jeff's still in the saddle. He's doing it. He's putting out something good today. Or, you know, it might be something to read, it might be a video or just a simple post. But it's just a matter of showing up is very encouraging to people. And again, the platforms you use, sometimes even contests, because I know this month we're running a contest this month, or we have incentives this month, and it's insane. It's totally insane, the incentives of what we're doing. And so it's like I'm Zoom calling day and night, literally day and night. So the other night I got done with a Zoom call at 2:30 in the morning, you know, and I was motivating the leaders in the country of the Philippines, you know, for example. So I'm just saying, those are the platforms we use. Again, how you show up in social media is important. Keep in mind, I'm 65 and I'm talking to you about social media. Come on, you young people. I mean, you should be teaching me about social media, actually. And so much of it changes. I mean, you know, I'm like, you know, it could be a little frustrating for me, but I've got friends who are really into it, younger friends, and I'll say, okay, what do I need to do? You know, they'll tell me. I say, because I don't want to read it. I don't want to have to spend hours learning it. Just tell me what I need to do. Oh, you need to do, okay, fine. You know, but going back to conflicts is not always easy. The problem is we deal with a lot of ego out there, you know, and so it's, you know, ego is very destructive. You know, it's matter of fact, I remember I talked to one of my leaders years ago, and because he was always upsetting some of his team. And I said, listen, Mike, you need to read that book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. He said, oh, I already read that book. I said, okay, you need to read it again, and this time apply it. You know, well, he's not with me anymore. We were glad to see him go. So, but you know, I always say, thank God for the people that leave, you know, because conflict is not a good thing. But anyway, you know, I think how I resolve the conflict depends on the situation. Like even today, you know, I understand that when leaders get upset by, let's say, somebody that is, I'm going to assume you all have some basic knowledge of network marketing, but that assumption can be wrong. But we call it an upline, or some people that have a personal, they benefit financially by your activity. Okay. And those people that benefit from your activity, okay, can sometimes be jerks. Okay. And so in this case, that's the way it was. And how I diffuse it was, I said, listen, you know, this is what I said to a woman in Nagaland today, in Kohima. I don't know if any of you have ever been to Kohima. I've been to Kohima, India, and it's interesting. Spent a week there once, and I'll never forget it. You know, they had to hurry me to the hotel. They said, we got to get you there before they cut off the electricity at 7 o'clock. I said, cut off the electricity? Well, it'll just be off for 2 or 3 hours. Do they do that often? Every night? Every night? Okay. It's one of those experiences, right? Anyway, it was cool. But I was talking to one of those leaders today. I said, here's the thing. I had a man in my upline who was a total jerk, was doing destructive things to us in India when we started work in India. And he was actually stealing a lot of our leaders. And I said, of course, he was very sly about it. He used other people to do it, and he even pay them money. And of course, I knew everything he was doing, confronted him with it, and then went to the company about it. Of course, he would deny, and the company believed me. And of course, they didn't have any evidence where they could prove it was him doing it directly. So they couldn't take any action against him legally. So, but anyway, needless to say, at convention, anytime I walk in there, he doesn't come near me. Okay, because lightning bolts will come out of the sky, and he knows it. But I'm not a vindictive person. But the thing is, he just knows I don't want his presence around. Okay, and as a matter of fact, and it's not that I'm not a forgiving person. I am on there, but there's a couple of requirements, by the way. And I was telling this to this woman today, because he emailed me. He says, "Hey, why don't we just be friends? I'm giving you my hand in friendship." And I wrote him back. I said, "Yeah, that's possible. First, when you admit to the things that you did, and we know you did it. And number two, you feel sorry for it. You're repenting. You're asking forgiveness. If you do those two things, then you'll get my hand in friendship." He said, "I'll never do that." I said, "And you'll never get my friendship." That's it. It works that way with God. It works that way with me. Okay? That's the way I see it. And so I told her, I said, now he's above me. Now, everything that happens in my team, he'll get a percentage of that. Sure he will. I said, do I care? No, I don't, because I get paid on what's below me. I don't get paid on what's above me. You see, I didn't get in this for him. I got in this for me. And that's the thing. So I'm focused. I'm not gonna let the fact that he's above me somewhere, getting a percentage, I'm not going to let that ruin my joy and my love for this business and what I do. I don't care. He's not relevant. He's totally irrelevant to me. And she said, "You know what? That makes total sense. So I'm not going to let that person above me bother me anymore. I'm not even going to think about her." I said, "Good. That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. Because you came in this for your reasons. You help your team. Be the kind of person that person is not. Be that for your team, okay? So that that they enjoy you. And so when it comes to conflicts, and then sometimes it's a matter of just, talking to people directly about a problem if it comes down to it, in a nice way, if possible. I always do it in love. And the approach is always important. How you approach somebody. And I can give you one. This was one of the hardest conflicts I think I could think back to. And that was in South Korea, and I had two leaders in Seoul. And so what happened was, this one leader, he was a doctor, and he was arrogant, but he was still my friend. But he was arrogant, but we had a good relationship. And in other words, one thing you have to do in order to diffuse conflicts is very important that you learn how to tolerate people. Some people don't have good tolerance. They don't. They're just going to tell that person what they think or what they think about them. And that's usually not going to go over very well. So, but anyway, so I learned how to tolerate and endure people. And so this doctor, he had a way of irritating the key leader, the main leader that was really driving a lot of the business. And so finally, it just reached a boiling point. And so he did something and upset him. So that leader wanted to go get signatures of everybody in his team and bring it to the company and move that organization out from him. And so I flew over there from the island of Guam. I flew over to Korea and I sat down with the doctor that was irritating him. I said, John, I said, do you value me as a friend? He said, yeah, of course, I do. Well, this is hurting me, John. You're hurting me. Because if he moves his organization out, it'll affect my income. It'll, everything all the work I did over here. I said, I really don't want to see that happen, John. Here's what I'm asking you to do. I want to flip-flop the positions. I want him to be your sponsor, and then I'll work with you, and we'll just work together. And then you're not an issue to him. We maintain peace. We keep the organization, the team as it is. And I'll work with you. You don't have to deal with him. You don't have to talk with him. You just work with me. Can we do that? And he said, I'll do it. And I don't know that that's ever been done in another company, but we did it. I went to the company. I said, flip-flop the positions. And when I told the other leader, I said, you're going to gain him and his other legs. He said, you got to be kidding me. I said, nope, it's done. And that was it. That was how I defused that conflict. That was a creative way to diffuse a conflict. And sometimes when you're under the gun and you're under a lot of pressure, your mind, your juices are going to get your thoughts moving, where you're going to come up with those answers, how to diffuse a conflict. And, they're all different, Anyway, those are just some examples. Anyone else with a question?
Yes, guys, one last opportunity to all the dynamic leaders to interact directly with the company Honorable Jeff, sir. Yes, anybody has question, please, last question.
Don't be shy.
Yes, sir, may I?
Come on.
Yeah. Jasper?
Hello, sir.
Hello. Where are you from?
Yeah. Sir, I am from Uttarakhand, Dehradun, Mussoorie, sir. Yes.
Good.
Sir,
Nice to meet you.
my question, my question is that if I become a good leader or good motivational speaker, what is my first step, or what is my first most important quality do I have acquire? First important quality.
To be a motivational speaker. To be a motivational speaker, what is the first thing that you really need to do? Is that the question?
Yes,
okay,
yes.
That's the question. All right, good. So that's wow. So that's a good question. And so the fact that you asked the question that way, I can sense that you're not where you want to be yet. So I can tell you, I was the same way. If you go to my Facebook page today, for example, you'll see a short little 30-second clip on them bringing me to stage. It was a very powerful moment because they brought me in a horse carriage, a carriage that was being pulled by horses. And there were 5,000 people in that room. It was such a powerful moment. Now, the reason why I say that, if you see that clip, then years before that, I can tell you I did not like public speaking because I was nervous. Now, I've been in network marketing for 4 decades. But there was a time like in the 1990s where I always got in front of people. I was used to that. I did it. And then in year 2000, right around the year, January 2000, everything was focused on conference calling, which was great. You could actually build it from your home, build a business from your home, load the calls, create a team. Great. I didn't see anybody face to face. Matter of fact, in 90 days, as I mentioned, I built a team of 800 people. I didn't see any of them face to face. I didn't do any meetings. For a long time, I didn't do any meetings. Well, when we went to one big event in Florida where my team was, we had thousands at that event. And the company and owner and his wife was there, the president, CEO, all of them. And so I was told, you're going to go up on stage and speak in about 30 minutes. And I said, okay. And so then there were a lot of Spanish there, a lot of Spanish. So my sponsor, it came time, he said, okay, you got to go up. I said, and I was scared to death. I said, there's a lot of Spanish here. And probably don't understand English very well. Why don't you go up with me and you can translate? See, I was scared. I wanted him to go up there with me. I did not want to go out on that stage by myself. He said, no, you'll be fine, go. I said, yeah, but a lot of them, Dave, they won't understand. You know, they only understand Spanish. So, I mean, Jeff, just go. I said, well, then I will. I'll just go, won't I? Because I got mad at myself. I was mad at him. And I said, okay. And I went right to this stage. I said, I'm just going to do this. I have no idea what I'm going to talk about. And I got right up to that microphone and that was it. Boom. You know, here's the thing that you have to do is just get your mind off yourself. Because we're too inward focused, you know what I mean? When you're public speaking. And know your, first of all, know your audience before you speak, okay? That's important. Know your audience. Know them in the sense that, why are they there? What do they want to take away from the event? And how can you give it to them? And then prepare your thoughts. You know, you take a lot of stress off yourself if you prepare yourself well before you do it. You can do an outline if you want, what you want to cover. Sometimes I'll do that. Sometimes I'll take something like maybe that, and I'll have it in my pocket in my suit. And then before they bring me out, I'm looking at. Now I'm not going to look at that when I go out on stage. That's it. I don't carry an outline. I don't. That's it. It's got to be here, which means preparation is key. So even when I'm sitting there before they bring me up, I'm going to, you know, days before, I'm going to go over my points so that I can, you know, and rehearse it in my head or verbally out loud even. And then I know my points, I know my bullets. And I'll tell you, once you go out on stage, you're going to discover you knew more. There was more in that than you really knew. In other words, it wasn't in your notes, but the concepts. Because what happens is when you get in front of these large groups, depending on the size of the group, you know, if you're in a room for 100 people, it's a different energy flow than if you're around thousands, right? When I'm around thousands, man, it's like I can feel jolts of energy going through me. You know what I mean? It's like boom. And then that information just comes alive. Why? Because I prepared it. Now, if I didn't prepare, you know, it's not going to go as well. It's not going to go as well because I got to know where I'm going with it. And my intention is, how do I give value? They came here for something. How can I give it to them? And so I want to give it to them. And so I'll carry some of my notes and then that's it. And then once they call me upstage and I leave my notes in my chair, that's the end of it. I don't need those anymore. I already got the bullets in my head. And the important thing is, I think when you get out there is, again, the important thing is get your mind off yourself. It's not about you. It's what you're there for. And all you got to do is deliver it. But sometimes what I like to do is have music. I'll tell them, I want you to have, I'll say, play before, you know, just as I'm coming out on stage, we're going to go with Pitbull. We're going to go with Fireball. Okay. I don't know if any of you heard of Fireball, Pitbull, you know, it's such a motivating song. If you've never heard of Fireball by Pitbull, I just love it. And so I'll say, just play Fire, and that's it. And then I just get the crowds and we just get them up out of their chairs because they're already sleepy from the previous speaker, right? You want to get their body moving, get their blood flowing. So I, get them out of their chairs and then that's it. And then you just get the crowds moving. But what it does is it gets you in state. It'll get you in state, the state that you need, because you'll be totally unstoppable once you hit that state. Tony Robbins talks about this stuff all the time. Okay. But you got to reach that peak. You got to hit that state. But your own physiology, if you're sitting in a chair for hours and now they're bringing you up stage, you're not ready because your physiology is wrong. It's going to impact the way you deliver. And see, I know that about myself. So I'm like, okay, I know my physiology is just wrong. It's screwed. Okay. So I'll say Pitbull. And then sometimes even I remember Eric Worre, he's a big trainer in the United States. He had 5,000 people at his event, and I was getting ready to go out on stage. I was backstage. I just started jogging. I just like getting my body ready, getting my body ready. And I'm just starting, I'm just jogging. I'm getting my blood going. I'm just getting my mind racing. That's it. Then I walk right on stage. My physiology is right. My psychology is right. And I'm ready to go. But again, you got to be prepared, have your bullets. But I think it's a great thing that if you're doing an event, have some music. You got it. Not only are you getting yourself in state, you're getting your crowd, your audience in state. And then finally, when it's over, it's like, hey, how are you doing? Are you ready to go to the next level? Are you excited? And they're cheering, man. The energy levels are going up. Well, man, again, your mind is off yourself, man. You are into the moment. You are ready to deliver. And you got all those bullets in your head. When you get a chance, go to my Facebook page and just remember, I was the guy that hated public speaking. I hated to get up on stage. And then look at that video of me, how they bring me into that and how I go up on that stage. I had absolute, and I'm not being prideful here, but I had absolute certainty. You'll see it in my face. I was very certain. But that's coming from a guy that just a few years prior absolutely hated it. And I was so uncertain. But again, I learned how to work. I learned how to, again, from Tony Robbins, how your physiology affects your mind. You got to get yourself in state. And then once you're in state, you're unstoppable. Check out that video on my page and then check out Tony Robbins about that. You can even Google that on YouTube, state of mind, Tony Robbins, something like that, subjects like that, and watch what Tony has to say. I mean, he is all about that. He is all about that. And you go to his events, man, he's always doing that. On stage, he's got even dancers. He's got dancers he brings out. And it gets all the crowds moving. What's he doing? Why is he doing that? He's trying to get us in state. He wants to get our physiology moving, to get our minds in a state where we're ready for that next part. You've been sitting there for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, time to get up out of the chair and get your body moving. But he'll get a song going and he's like that. He's like that. He's, he's a mess, but he's totally awesome. Yeah, that's right. That comment that was just made, it does. It changes your state. So, and then you're going to love public speaking. I haven't done any public speaking now for over a year. So it's like, it would be interesting. Go back, start doing that again. I'm actually looking forward to it. I really am. You still there?
Fabulous.
Hopefully I didn't put you asleep.
It was really mind-blowing. And of course, Tony Robbins always vowed great things at the start until the end, which you are finding in this training room, Jeff, sir.
And he's such a big guy. I mean, when I first met him one night at dinner. Before he walked in the room with his wife, they, you know, I'm part of his platinum. I'm a platinum member in his team. Okay, so it just means I pay $85,000 a year, not counting the cost of flying to events, going to events. That's another, you can figure $150,000 a year. Anyway, so I had a platinum membership. So with his platinums, he'll always have a dinner with them, you know. So anyway, so I was in this ballroom. This was a little more than a year ago, just right at the time the pandemic was starting. I was in the ballroom, and they said, "Hey, line up. Let's get a picture before Tony and his wife gets here." I said, "Okay." Go by the stage, and I turned my back. I'm, you know, next thing I know, and there hardly anybody came up to the stage. But next thing I know, I have two big hands massaging my shoulder, and I look up, and it's Tony looking down, smiling at me, him and his wife. And I said, "I've got to talk to you." And that's when I gave him a hug and I told him the story. You know, I said, "You changed my life 28 years ago when I bought your cassette tapes, Unlimited Power. I listened to cassette every day for 30 days. I was bankrupt. I was broke. And then I went off and made, I think 38 million. I think I told him $38 million. And he just smiled. He said, "But you did it." You know, it was funny. It was a powerful moment. But yeah, well, it's been fun being here with everyone. And enjoyed it very much. And we, you know, look forward to connecting with you in the future. And thanks for being, you know, for me joining with you today. It's been fun.
It's really great honor, Jeff sir, to listen to you lively, and all we have enjoyed a lot. You can see the faces. There is a great charm on each and every individual faces. See the Bettina Thesin, as well as Bettina Goitkar, Rashmi ji, Gaurav ji, Jaspal ji, Navneet ji,
Thank
Rahul
you.
ji, Dr. Prashant Dahire sir, where we met together at Hyderabad. Yes, Amar sir, Sakhil ji, Amrita ji, Manish ji, Preeti ji. Fabulous guys, all you are really amazing one. Because of your presence, this session really awesome one, and we can call it is a true international leadership development program. And in coming days, again, we will take Honorable Jeff sir's times as well as other dignitaries. As in this month itself, it is our 4th international leadership development program, where we are connecting with the different leaders. And surely we are confident, Honorable Jeff sir, he has such a huge exposure and lots of things to share with us, because all the dynamic leaders from across the globe, especially young leaders, are there. They are really curious about to learn leadership, and not only in network marketing, from different fields. And we are connecting with entire globe personalities. So we are really grateful to you, Jeff sir, and we are thank you as you are being with us more than 2 hours and 18 minutes. It's really great honor. Surely all the interactions was fabulous one. Once again, we are grateful to you, and we would like to continue our journey, accompany you in your presence. Grateful to you from India, from Germany, from USA, from all across the globe. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening. Okay, bye-bye. Bye-bye.